BMASTER. Hello and welcome, gamers. I'm BMASTER and I'm joined today by my co-host and fellow gaming enthusiast, The Full Measure. We've got an exciting video planned for you today as we take a look at some of the most highly anticipated upcoming games. So, what's on our radar? Well, first up is Wulong Fallen Dynasty, a stunning new RPG set in ancient China. We'll be discussing our predictions for this game and how we think it will perform. Next, we have the highly anticipated Resident Evil 4 remake. As fans of the original game, we're excited to see what changes and improvements have been made to this classic survival horror title. And who isn't excited about Star Wars Jedi Survivor? With the success of Jedi Fallen Order, we're hoping for another immersive experience set in the Star Wars universe. Moving on, we have Dead Island 2, the long-awaited sequel to the popular zombie survival game. Will it live up to its predecessor's success, or will it fall short? Another highly anticipated title is The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Fallen Kingdom. This game promises to take us on a new adventure in Hyrule, and we can't wait to see what surprises await us. And let's not forget about Diablo 4, the latest entry in the beloved action RPG series. We'll be discussing what we hope to see in terms of gameplay, story, and overall design. Lastly, we have Redfall, a new co-op shooter from Bethesda. We're excited to see how this game will set itself apart from other shooters on the market. So, sit back, relax, and join us as we dive into these exciting games and share our predictions. And don't forget to leave your own predictions and thoughts in the comments below. Let's get this conversation started. Hey guys, short little plug here. I did forget to mention in the introduction that we did record everything on the 25th of February, so prior to any releases of the games. So I just thought you should know. Now, let's go back to the video.
Oh, okay.
It's alright.
Okay, so I mean, we're looking at Wulong Fallen. Dude, that's a very cumbersome name. First of all, Wulong Fallen Dynasty. That's
Why?
a lot. It's a lot of words.
Okay, yeah.
But I mean, okay, look. All jokes aside, it's Team Ninja, right? They made the Neo games. I don't know if you played them, if you're a fan. Really,
I did
really
play the first, but never got anywhere actually.
Okay. So, like tried it out, but didn't play it like deep in or anything like that.
Yeah, I think I got a little bit over the tutorial, but I thought it was nice.
Yeah.
Gameplay wise, but I just never got into it, or into it enough.
So I mean, for me, the strength of games like Neo, and of course, way back in the day, Team Ninja was responsible for Ninja Gaiden and things like that, which is one of my all-time. I mean, super difficult game, but so rewarding if you could actually play it and not die like a bitch, every 5 seconds. But Neo was kind of like the same. Neo was, of course, more like the focused on like that particular story with the demons and stuff. Although this kind of looks like that as well. But this just looks like more, how can I say, like more Asian Neo, if I can put it that way. And I really enjoyed Neo, so I mean, I'm there, dude. I'm there day one. I'm not a big fan of the fact that this is another game with a fucking season pass, though.
Yeah, I can understand. I can actually understand that. For me, as I said, I did play Neo a little bit. My friend is a big fan of Neo.
Okay.
And he showed me Wulong like 2-3 months ago when the demo was out. And we played it the whole afternoon.
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, so you've actually played it? You've actually tried it out?
I did actually play it, yes. And
nice.
I think it's... I mean, we had no fucking idea what's going on.
Sure.
But the game was pretty fun.
Was it difficult?
we-
Was it hard?
Yeah. I mean, especially if you have no fucking idea what you're doing. Yes, it's hard.
So let me guess, the demo didn't have the tutorial in.
Not really. I mean,
It's
there
like, here's
was
the
some
buttons,
sort of
here's the
tutorial.
buttons, enjoy yourself.
Kind of.
Okay.
But we did play up to a boss,
Okay.
and I tried like 4, 5, 6 times,
Mhm.
and then I finally beat the first
Nice.
stage.
Oh, the first stage of the boss.
Yes.
Okay.
And we were so surprised that it actually went on that I died immediately.
You're not. I mean, this is the thing in a game like this where you're like, yes, I finally got this boss. And you put the controller
much.
down and you do the victory dance. You're like, no, he's still attacking me. Yeah, no.
Exactly.
I feel that.
Yeah, so the next try, I did better. Immediately killed the first stage again, and
Yeah, because you
tried
knew
the
what to
second
do
stage.
and like everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay.
So that was also good. But after that, I couldn't even scratch that guy anymore.
Yeah.
Not even in the first stage.
Heavy.
It was really, really interesting.
Okay.
I did like the demo,
Mhm.
and I think depending on story wise how this will go, it might be a really good game. But
It's-
I do not think that it will be like a Demon Souls hit
yeah.
public.
I
or for the
have-
general public.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. If you look at if we just look at the kind of game it is, right, and then we look at what
Mhm.
Ninja did before, like Neo is also kind of like, I think it's fair to say Neo is kind of like niche.
Yes.
The people that like Neo a lot, but there's not like a hell of a lot of
beloved.
those people.
A beloved niche,
Yeah,
I would say.
yeah. No, I think that's 100% right. What I do, again, like I said, I don't want to harp on about something, but the season pass is weird for me because that means that obviously they are going to be, there's going to be stuff coming to the game, after the fact. And is that, I'm sure we could do more research and figure that out if it's like story content or cosmetics or whatever. But it does seem like if you look at like Neo, for instance, Neo had like, expansions and things like that. So it kind of like seems like the same thing. They're just kind of repackaging it in a different way by putting it into a season pass. But for me, season passes is always a case of like, it's meant to give you like FOMO, Like if you aren't there during the first season, then you miss out on X, Y, Z, something like that. And that kind of stuff in a game like this, I feel like it's mismatched. Like it doesn't belong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do agree on that. It does feel weird, especially as far as I know, this is a single player game. I might be wrong. I don't think you're wrong.
I don't think you're wrong.
But it's definitely not a multiplayer, but maybe a co-op game. Maybe.
Yeah, it could have a similar system to like Neo, where you can join into people's games and PvP and stuff like that, and you can summon their ghosts and whatever. But it's basically like a slightly more evolved version of like the Elden Ring, summon people into your game fucking kind of vibe.
Mm-hmm.
So no, definitely by no means like a full-on multiplayer experience, right?
No, definitely not.
So yeah, and that's always the funny thing for me is that those games players tend to treat as like a one and done kind of thing. Definitely Neo and Neo 2 had this whole thing of like you play through the game, and then once you finish playing the game, then you can essentially go back and attempt all of the missions at a higher difficulty, and you can get better gear because essentially your gear has levels and all of that stuff. And in a way, the game has like an end game. I don't imagine this is going to be any different. It's probably going to be there as well. But the thing is, the minute someone finishes your game, like that's like 70% of the player base drops off right there. That's even if they finish it, because games like these tend to frustrate people before they finish it.
Yeah, totally. So all in all, I think it will be a great game, gameplay-wise at least. Story-wise, we will see.
Yeah.
We don't have much to go off from the trailer. But I personally don't like those stories of those games normally because they're so vague.
Yeah, they kind of like, they also lose something in translation, like the thing
That
with
too,
Neo it was always like the translations was really bad, and it was better just to play it in the original voiceover and stuff like that. But yeah, the stories end up being like sometimes like super bombastic, and a little bit like I always feel like these games, it's the gameplay that sells the game. It's the control, it's the combat, it's that sort of stuff. And the story could be like really good, but the story will always play like second fiddle, like to the gameplay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Alrighty. So we're saying overall, because I think this is, on some of these we might end up disagreeing, but I think we're pretty much exactly in the same hat here. So we're gonna say that this will probably be a success for people that like this game, anything like that. But as far as a massive commercial success and possibly, something that jumps to the level of like we're not thinking game of the year here, right?
No, not
Okay.
even close.
Okay. Cool. Then I think we're on the same page, 100%.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Resident Evil 4, dude. Like if I could have a game now, this one would be it. I'm not gonna lie.
All right.
I'm a huge Resident Evil fan. But I would say obviously of the originals, I think Resident Evil 1 on the PlayStation was something phenomenal. Resident Evil 4 was of course like a big departure from their standard formula, but it's I think it's the one that probably brought the most people into the universe. So people that maybe didn't play Resident Evil 1 and 2 and all of the previous ones, Resident Evil 4 was a like played in such a way that it would get like the Tomb Raider people in and stuff as well. You know what I mean? Because of the way that it controlled and stuff. So yeah, phenomenal. But and there's been also so many versions of it, but this is like like they did with Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3, the remakes. This is now of course Resident Evil 4's turn. It looks amazing. It looks amazing.
It does. I do agree with that. But which Resident Evil was kind of the spawn of Devil May Cry? Was it the first one? Or?
So I'm not. Is that a thing? Is it that Resident Evil spawned Devil May Cry?
Yeah, kind of. I'm not sure which one.
Okay.
But
if it has to be a
develop
one, bro,
and wanted to do it more action-packed, but like the producer said, no, please don't do that. We want to do this kind. Please go make something else with that. And that's kind of how Devil May Cry evolved.
Interesting.
Something along these lines. Quick information about this. The game was originally conceived by Capcom developers as Resident Evil 4. Due to the staff feeling it would not fit the Resident Evil franchise, the project became its own title.
Yeah. Okay, no, but look, I can see that to a degree, because like Resident Evil 4 has like these fucking slick like melee fucking like kicks that you can do to get guys off you and stuff like that. And there definitely was like this flow in Resident Evil's combat where it was like, you're shooting with your gun, and then a dude will throw like an axe at you, and you can shoot the axe out of the sky before it hits you. And like it definitely had some kind of actiony bits, but of course, the original, it still had that whole like, I don't know if you know what I mean when I say the Resident Evil 4 control scheme, which is like press up on the controller to go forward. And if you want, you don't turn, you like hold to turn your character, and then you run. It's like you're like on a train on rails, So if it is the case of a Resident Evil inspiring Devil May Cry, then in my opinion it had to have been 4. Although I think by the time Resident Evil 4 came out, we already had a Devil May Cry in our hands. So without checking dates now and diving into Wikipedia or anything like that, I guess we can figure that out at another time. But look, Resident Evil 4 was ahead of its time when it came out, like in the type of game that it was. And I think that largely contributed to its success, right? Now,
that's what I hear often.
Yeah, and this is a remake. So it's got that word of mouth going for it already, but it doesn't have that like this thing revolutionizes a formula thing going for it. You know what I mean? Because in the end, remakes are they kind of get a bad rap, right? Where I most recently experienced it with Dead Space, right? Which I thought was a phenomenal remake, and I personally felt that it was worth paying a full price for again, because it just seemed to like so much work had gone into it and was built from the ground up again. But it was very interesting for me going through the reviews of that game for all of the different channels that I watched. But for how many people, I even put a poll up on my channel where I asked people if they were going to get it. How many people said, why would I pay full price for a game again that I fucking already played before and that doesn't turn out differently in any way or form, and it's basically the same thing, just better looking. And so there's a lot of those kinds of people out there as well. I'm not one of them. But this game could certainly maybe suffer a little bit for that. What do you think?
I don't think so. Well, while true, I am an absolute Resident Evil hater on the games.
Really?
I don't like them. Okay, I didn't play.
God.
Fair enough. I didn't play the new ones, the remakes.
Okay, sure.
But it's
Did you
just
play
not
7?
my game. No.
Interesting.
Okay. The only one that I actually played was 5 with my friend back then.
Sure.
It was hilarious.
It was nice. 5 co-op was a good time.
Yeah, I mean the game was shit, but it was fun.
I thought 5 was fucking incredibly good. So this is very interesting to me. If not to put you on the spot or anything, B, but if you
came from the movies. I didn't know the games before.
Yeah, but that can't be the reason for you not liking
No. It's just not my type of game.
Okay, because what I wanted to ask is, if it's not too hard, like, could you say like the one thing that just doesn't gel for you with the games? Like, what is it? Is it that the story is not great? Is it that you don't like the universe? Like, you don't like the controls? Like, what do you think? What is the thing?
Now, for the old ones,
it's probably control.
Yeah, it's controls, definitely. It's just horrible. Also, the puzzles. I don't like these kind of puzzles in my games.
Okay. So it's just like
that's
the
why I never got into Zelda, for example.
Recipe of Resident Evil just didn't click for you.
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. So with that in mind, and if you just take the trailers for Resident Evil 4 on base, right, and you just would this be the Resident Evil that you potentially come dip your toes back in, or not?
Maybe.
Okay.
Especially now with my new computer that hopefully can run the game.
Okay, that's a very fair point.
But maybe, yeah. I probably should try them, or at least the remakes.
Would it be like a wait to see process for you to see what it scores like, or is does the score not really matter for you? You just have to wait and see if you're in the mood for it.
I wouldn't say that the score is any reason for me to play a game or not.
No, I said you heard me right. I said score, right?
Score.
Yeah, not gore. Yeah. Sorry, I have this problem with pronunciation. You know this, right?
Me too. As a non-native English speaker.
Exactly, but we're doing our best, man. We're doing our best.
No, score.
If this game, for instance, like let's say this comes out on the 24th of March, right? And 2 days before the 24th of March, this thing gets like fucking 25 100s on Metacritic. Does that make you go, fuck me, I guess I'm playing this? Or is it more like a mood thing and you're like, I don't think I'm ready for this yet. I don't feel like it. I'm not going to do it yet.
It's definitely a mood thing. Because I don't give a shit what those... I mean, well, especially not the reviewers on those magazines. I don't give a shit about them. Because they're dumb.
Okay.
They have an agenda to go for. But, like, if I watch reviewers on YouTube, like Angry Joe and stuff, I may actually get swayed onto.
A little bit.
I may. It happened before. So, yeah, maybe it's time to dip my toes into Resident Evil.
Okay.
But
then taking you out of the picture, taking you out of the picture, do you think that this ends up being like super successful?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You think this...
Especially if we look back to the second and the third iteration.
They always rate high, bro. The Resident Evil's always rate high.
And you said something about the remakes before, that's like with Dead Space. Resident Evil has what should I say? The thing that it's already so old that it makes sense to do.
It has a different fan base. It has a different fan base as well.
Yeah,
as
but
popular as Dead Space is, Resident Evil is like the Resident Evil 4, and I guess I get what you're saying is Resident Evil 4, the original, is fucking ancient compared to Dead Space 1 and the Dead Space 1 remake.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. That difference is just so vastly different. From the stuff that you can do.
Like I played this, for instance. I played Resident Evil 4 when I was 19. I'm 42 now, so that's literally the difference. Yeah. That's insane if you think about it.
Exactly. I mean, that's 23 years though.
Yeah.
And Dead Space is just 14 years old.
No, exactly. So that's that's like a case of like, you know, you were a completely different person when you played it the first time.
Oh, that definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so I would then, just to finish this off, I agree with you. Well, obviously this is day one for me, right? But I do agree with you as well. I think that it is Resident Evil as a franchise is a force to be reckoned with, and this is literally their strongest entry, I would say, almost ever. Definitely Resident Evil 7 was also fucking a beast. Yeah. But this is ridiculous. And it really looks like they put some TLC on it. So yeah, that's good. My only big dread is like, and I'm more saying this for my poor countrymen back in South Africa. This is going to release at something like probably like 70 fucking US or something like that. Because it's Capcom. They're fucking animals. Sorry, but they are, and this thing will, like, how high a price they can put on this thing, they will. I don't know what it's like, but I'm calling it now. I'm calling it 70, bro. Like 100%.
I mean, with the current price growth, I would say, on games anyway. Yeah, definitely. It wouldn't even surprise me if they go for 80. Honestly.
Oh my god. I might need to
hopefully don't.
Okay, cool. Okay.
All right. We are talking Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Yeah, I just at some point I feel sorry for the person that has to keep track of all of the Star Wars games that there's been, right?
Oh, dude, there are so many. But then again, there are so many movies, so
no, this is true. But would you say there's more Star Wars games or more Star Wars movies?
Definitely more games.
Yeah, if we're talking about the original 9, right? So, I say original 3, but then the extra 6 that we got, giving us a total of 9. There's definitely been more than 9 fucking Star Wars games, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there are the series like Clone Wars, etc.
Yeah, if we're talking total like on-screen stuff versus games, then probably there's more on-screen, I would say.
Yeah.
But if you just talk movies, then yeah. Anyways, this is of course a continuation of fuck, man, what was the first one called? Is it Outcast?
Fallen Orders?
Is it? Oh, okay. I was gonna say Outcast, but Outcast is even the one before that, right? But yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Outcast, Jedi Outcast, or whatever is from even before that, if I'm not mistaken. Any case, it don't matter. This is a continuation of, as you mentioned, Fallen Order, same character. Obviously now, you know, at that stage in Fallen Order, you were kind of like just starting out as like someone who was Force attuned and everything like that. And of course now, it's always fun with games like this when you start getting to the second and the third game, because now, you know, like the attunement to the Force is stronger, so we can have cooler powers, and you know, the guy can be stronger and that sort of thing. I think it looks good. I think it and most recently there was this 9-minute gameplay demo that they showed on IGN. I think from an authenticity perspective, I think they nailed it. They got the soundtrack going and it's nice, and you know, something that just with this game, I don't know why, dude, but from that 9-minute footage, and you can't so much see it from the latest, you know, gameplay trailer, but from that 9-minute footage, watching someone play it, the movement just seems so stiff to me. It doesn't look like it's fun.
Yeah, I remember you saying that on stream back then. Yeah. Now, are you a Star Wars fan?
I am definitely a Star Wars fan, but I would say I'm like old old trilogy. So that puts
the original.
yeah, that puts me at odds with some of the newer stuff. Some of it I like, some of it I don't. But what I like about this franchise, and especially like Fallen Order, is that they tried so very, very hard to like make their own story, to distance themselves from any kind of, you know, prejudice that you might have. Like, for instance, you don't like the new trilogy or whatever, you know, something like that, or you don't fucking like Jar Jar Binks or whatever, and Jar Jar Binks isn't in it. You know what I mean? So I appreciate the fact that they trying to, you know, carve out their own little corner of the universe here and everything like that. And I gotta say, dude, the little droid sidekick is super cool, dude. I'm a huge fan of that.
Yeah.
So I have space in my heart for another Star Wars game. I also like the fact that we don't really have fatigue here, right? It's been long enough since Fallen Order came out for this to come out. This was also, you know, delayed most recently for like literally like 21 days or something like that, which was an odd delay because I don't know what you can do in 21 days, really. Like,
well, work on the patch for day one patch.
Yeah, exactly. No, they just needed to print a couple of more copies of the game or something. I don't know, like the CD printer wasn't working or something. Yeah, so I think look, the Star Wars games, they because of the lineage of the franchise and everything like that, I feel like they always do good, right? And I think I mentioned to you off camera that for me, Fallen Order was like I went in with low expectations, and therefore it actually was like a high quality game for me. I really enjoyed it. And if this game could do the same thing, then, you know, that's good. However, it is a sequel. And so whenever you make a sequel, it gets compared to the original. And then if it doesn't measure up, then, you know, what are you going to do? Now...
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you now. Do you have expectations for the game?
I think it's like a... Does it make sense to you when I say to you, I think this is like a 80 game? What I mean is, it's like, it's not...
No, I'm not that old.
No. What I meant, like, so I'm using like a score methodology here, right? So...
Oh, okay, yeah.
If you say to someone...
It's decent?
Yeah, if you say to someone, this thing is like 8 out of 10. Now, 8 out of 10 isn't a shit score at all, dude. If you got 8 out of 10 for fucking maths back in, you know, like school, your parents were like, bro, you fucking rule, right? But...
I'd be crying.
Oh, really? No, my parents were happy with 6, bro. so no, but
anyway.
But my point is that like somehow these days, like if a game isn't scoring like in the 90s, then it's a fucking flop. I disagree with that completely. But my point is that this game, I think, will end up scoring in the 80s or close to 80. And therefore, some people will look at it and say, oh, yeah, it's, you know, fucking wasn't as great as it's supposed to be. Whereas in the end, standing on its own, it's probably going to be a good.
Okay, yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. Yourself?
Okay, now I understand. I can agree with you on that one. It's probably not going to be as great viewed as the first one, as Fallen Orders. But still, it will be bought en masse.
Yeah, sure.
Because it's Star Wars.
100%.
Right?
100%.
Yeah, maybe it's around an 80s game that I can see too.
I also think...
But all in all, I think it will be successful.
Yeah, I agree with that.
People will mostly like it.
Yeah.
But probably would say, yeah, it's just not as good.
I think
just because they have something to compare to.
I think the fucking 2 week or 3 week, sorry, the 3 week delay is probably more to do with like exactly when they wanted to release it. They don't want it to be close to something else that could affect sales. And that, if you look at that, you know, if you want to get like spicy and try to read between the lines, that to me is a danger indicator, because why don't you have confidence in your product?
Then again, you can have too much confidence.
Sure. And like I said,
I mean, which game was it? Which game was it that's dropped with Elden Ring?
That's a good question. The fact that we don't remember is makes your point for you.
It says a lot. It does say a lot, right?
That already makes your point right there.
And I think that game wasn't bad.
No, I mean
It
it's
just
very-
dropped at the wrong
very
time.
interesting that you mentioned this now, because now that's kind of got me thinking, because I remember something around that time, because I remember it being like a case of like wanting to, which game to fucking stream, you know what I mean?
Mhm. Was it Forbidden? No, it did. That came a little bit before.
Wasn't
think
it
you rushed through
wasn't
it.
it Horizon's fucking like sequel?
Yeah. But I think it dropped like a week before.
Yeah, but that's
Or
but
something,
that's
and
not- that's enough.
you rushed through it.
Yeah, but that's enough. That's because you weren't gonna get
guess,
through
yeah.
Horizon in like a fucking week though. So that was damaging enough. I think so, right? Because I think one came out like the Thursday and one came out like the Tuesday, so it's not even like a full week. And the point was that I remember for me it was a case of like I was playing Horizon and then I tried Elden Ring. I was like, Horizon, and even though it was like a great game, it was just like a thing. So yeah, no, I get your point. There is such a thing as being too confident. 100%, I fully agree with that. But you got to show some. It is. I'm sure eventually the reason for the delay or something will come out, and they'll say, yeah, it's because they, like you said, maybe there was like a couple of day one bugs they had to sort out or something like that. But it is suspicious to essentially delay something by 3 weeks, because the only thing that it looks like what they're trying to do is they're trying to affect the timing of the release. That's basically. So
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, now the release date is 28th of April.
yeah,
I think.
is it?
At least that's what it says on the trailer
Okay.
that we watched. I'm not sure if that was before or after the
The delay.
delay. No.
That's a good question. Because to me that seems like that is the actual release date. I could be wrong. It's
Because if that's the actual release date, then it would be close to Resident Evil 4 remake.
yes,
And that's, I think, is a good thing to not
do not go close
go
to.
with them.
Yeah. So
Give them time to play through the game, and then they can go to Jedi Survivor.
yeah, it's also another game that we're going to be looking at later on is of course Dead Island 2, and it's actually a week after Dead Island 2, where before it would have been a week before Dead Island 2. So
Oh, yeah, true.
so it's also it's. I mean, we could just be barking up the wrong tree here with like conspiracy theories and whatnot, but I do like
Absolutely.
to think about stuff like that sometimes, and if that somehow like plays into it, or not. But yeah, in the end, just again to close out, I think that the fact that it is a Star Wars franchise game, of course it will have its, and you have a lightsaber and all that, all the stuff that people love about Star Wars. So it will on the basis of that do well, sure. But for instance, I don't think it's be as successful as the first one. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, definitely it will not be as successful, but financially it will be successful. It will be making profits, whatever.
Sure.
And in the end, that's
all that matters.
I mean, you at least to EA, I guess.
Yeah, sure. I mean, EA most famously said that, single player games are fucking dead and it's fucking junk, and they're out here making single player games. So yeah, anyway, fucking YOLO. But yeah,
Exactly.
Okay, cool. Alrighty.
All right.
Okay, Dead Island 2.
Yeah, Dead Island 2.
Did you play the first one?
No, in that case, I didn't. As it seems, I misremember.
Not Dead Rising.
Yeah, it was Dead Rising. But that
Yeah.
one was hilarious. Or Dead Rising 2, I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever.
No, all the Dead Risings have been nice. So look, I think you touched on something very important, kind of like off camera, but this was of course like teased to us like almost 10 years ago, right?
Nearly, yes.
And then went into like it was still being worked on, and then suddenly just became like vaporware and essentially disappeared. Which can indicate that it was something that they abandoned and then chose to, like bring back now again, or, maybe, like they went completely back to the drawing board and basically built it from the ground up again. Although, if you go back to that very, very first trailer, which was basically the trailer was this dude running on the beach and he was jogging with music and then being chased by a bunch of zombies and shit. That certainly still, if you look at the footage of the game right now, still kind of seems like in terms of like the place where it takes place and everything like that, it's still the same. So how much of it has really changed?
Yeah, right? I mean, I think it's more of maybe it's switched studios or publisher. And sure. I don't think that maybe they like actually...
an engine change or something like that.
Maybe. I don't think they went back to the drawing board actually, because it's so similar to what they originally showed us.
Sure, agreed. So, are you a fan of like did you enjoy Dying Light, for example, which certainly is very similar to this in terms of experience? Is this a kind of genre of game that you enjoy?
It's a genre of game I enjoy, but I did not enjoy Dying Light.
Yeah.
It just did not really click for me.
Sure.
But as I said in off camera, Dead Rising was pretty fun. And I also said like this game does look very creative in the way you can kill. Yes. Kind of like Dead Rising.
With, right? Yeah, which you can have a lot of fun with.
Yes,
be
exactly.
Creative.
Especially if you can play co-op with friends. Yeah. That game could be a great hit. It's not a game of the year hit or something. Absolutely not. But I see already a lot of streams pop up playing this co-op. And yeah, just having stupid, silly zombie slasher fun.
Yeah, like killing zombies in creative ways and weird ways and things like that.
Exactly, yeah. And making just hilarious stories out of it.
I think, look, for me, I played the original Dead Island and I've also obviously played Dying Light 1 and 2. And I think fundamentally the big difference, I would say, between this and that, if you were going to start drawing comparisons, would be the fact that, of course, Dying Light is a tight, well, I use the word tight loosely here, but it's a narrative game that's built behind this one character and their story.
Yeah.
Whereas Dead Island has you basically like an old arcade game. You pick a character. I believe there's 5 at launch in Dead Island 2. And I can't recall how many there was at Dead Island 1. I want to say fucking 6, but it could have been 4. Fine, it doesn't matter. The point is, each one of these characters comes with some pros and cons, a different backstory and everything like that. And eventually you can have let's say a slightly different experience to, someone that picked a different character.
Yeah.
So this where one would say that Dying Light 2 might be considered a little bit more of a serious game. This is more, and this leans into the point that you were making about creative ways to kill zombies and stuff like that. This is more of like I'm not going to say a jokey take. Sure, there will be serious parts in this game, but it definitely has a specific kind of humor that's built into it that's about, killing zombies in funky ways and, that sort of thing. And I like that. I like the idea of that. I do, however, I'm not going to lie, I have like a little bit of fucking zombie fatigue, if I can put it that way.
Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, it was pretty much in the last few years, especially. There was the kind of zombie craze when DayZ came out, and kind of.
Yeah,
I think it started kind of with DayZ.
Yeah. I just for me like it needs to be something, something completely different and off the wall. And to this trailer, as well as the studio's compliment, it looks like that's what they're going. They're going like, yeah, we know there's a whole bunch of zombie games or anything like that, but our zombie game is different because you can do this and you can do that and you can kill the zombies in this way and you can do that. And if that's the case, then it's nice because I might not play this game then for the story, but I might just play it for the sandbox.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And that being said, in terms of then verdict, right, for me, I actually think that this does not go down very well. I think that this is one of those games that, like, it's going to come out, There's gonna be some decent reviews for it. There's gonna be people finding problems with this, and that. And I feel, unfortunately, and I mean, nobody wants to say this to, anybody's body of work, but this is potentially something that, like a couple of weeks down the line, nobody's talking about, nobody's playing, which is sad. But there has to be games of all types, right?
Yeah, sure.
And yeah, this is just, I feel like this game would have to be so drastically different, right? To be something that actually, pushes through people's zombie games fatigue. And while this is different enough, I just don't think it's enough, if I can put it that way.
Yeah, I understand you. I probably don't have this zombie fatigue since I don't play those games that often. But that's kind of not a thing that I was thinking of. It's a good point that you brought that up. But all in all, as I said, I don't think it will be like a Game of the Year type. Nowhere close, because it's just too special, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like it's also like a little bit niche, right?
Yes.
We've used that now a couple of times in talking about games so far. But yeah, this is kind of like niche. A lot of the times with sandbox games like these, it's like people feel like they're not being told what to do.
Oh yeah,
so
that's one thing I hate about the games. Although it's one of the best things about the games.
Sure. It's like, here's fucking 2 square kilometers of just crazy shit that you could do, and whatever.
Go.
But yeah, just go have fun. But then the point is, like, there's a bunch of people that play games and go like, okay, cool. So what's my next mission? Where do I need to go? And at the same time as well, with games like these, it's often very difficult to find, let's call it, the beginning, the middle, and the end. And that is like something that people sometimes, seek in games.
Yeah.
Again, I don't have a problem with a sandbox-based game, especially if that sandbox is a lot of fun. But then, the point is, those games get replaced so quickly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
So,
probably,
Zelda.
probably the not the most controversial, but I would say the game that people expect the most from, I guess, that we've spoken about so far.
Yeah.
Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is, of course, the next Zelda after Breath of the Wild. It is a Switch game. So there's a barrier of entry there already. A lot of the games that we were talking about before are games that were at least coming out on multiple platforms, right?
Yes.
So if you didn't have a PlayStation, you could get on PC or whatever. So this is the first point, really, is that, of course, this is a Switch title. Now, off camera, we were talking about, whether you have a Switch or not, and you brought up something, important, that is that at a stage there was a problem with getting Switches.
Yes.
They were
Absolutely.
out of stock.
It was horrible.
Yeah, it was kind of like similarly to when the Steam Deck came out. Although the Steam Deck was obviously because of fucking Corona or whatever, and I think the Switch's issue was they as smart as Nintendo is, for some reason they never expected it to be as popular as it was, and it was ridiculously popular, obviously.
Yeah.
So
at that time that I wanted to get one, the Switch Lite was always available, but I was like, fuck no, why should I?
Sure. I mean, you wanted the standard edition.
Yes.
Yeah. So I picked up the Switch specifically for Breath of the Wild.
So did many others.
Yeah, for sure. And to this day, I know a bunch of people who have Switches and only Breath of the Wild on it. I famously had this conversation with Roman back in the day.
Yeah.
And he did like fucking like a backflip when he heard this shit. But I was one of the people that, like, I tried as much as I could to have Breath of the Wild get a fucking hold of me and to play the shit out of the game. I played it on the handheld. I connected it to a fucking TV. I did everything that I could, to make me like the game. But there was just some stuff about Breath of the Wild. Off the top of my head, the weapon durability pissed me off. Even though weapon durabilities in games don't piss me off, but with this game, it just fucking irked me so much.
Very obnoxious.
Yeah. I was constantly looking around for like, surely there must be like a way that when I find a weapon that I really, really like, that I can go do a quest or I can do something and that I could at least, make this, But of course there wasn't. So, I like I said, I tried very much, and there's a lot about that game that is lovely, but I can just freely admit that it's first of all a game that I never finished, and to me that's I'm gonna be very honest with you. I have that phobia thing, like where if I start playing a game, I have to finish it, even if it's a fucking trash bag game.
No.
So when I say to you that I didn't finish a game, that's like a different kind of. It's not supposed to be an insult to the game, but that means that it was so jarring to me that I was just like, bro, I'm not going to do it. And I think largely it was probably due to the fact that it was on a platform that I was playing nothing else on at the time. So I felt like it was a fucking slog to always play this thing. I did not like playing it in handheld mode. I preferred, connecting to a screen. It just felt like it was a game that, like, I can't help but say this, and I know that people are going to hate me for it, but like, I feel like if fucking, like, Breath of the Wild was on PC, right? Where I could sit down with a keyboard and a mouse and play that shit, or on a controller that I enjoyed playing it on.
Like a real controller.
Yeah, then, maybe. I don't know. But I know that I've leveled some incredible fucking criticism against the game now, but and that wasn't my intention. My point was that it didn't gel with me. Now, I will say this, Wind Waker, back in the day, lovely fucking Zelda game. I fucking enjoyed it so much. Ocarina of Time, of course, Mask of Majora, I've played them all. I enjoyed them. And as a franchise, I think the Zelda franchise is super strong. I think it's fantastic. It's just Breath of the Wild didn't do it for me. And that then, I spent a whole bunch of time talking shit about Breath of the Wild now, but that was to segue into my point that this game, Tears of the Kingdom, is essentially Breath of the Wild Mark II.
Yeah, I mean, it does build up on Breath of the Wild and just keeps adding some stuff, hopefully make the puzzles more challenging again. As far as I know, the puzzles aren't that challenging, or rather it's kind of child's play in Breath of the Wild, from what I have heard.
Yeah, it was mostly physics-based stuff. So you just had to like move stuff around and fucking, like play with the ball.
Not that much variety as far as I heard.
No. It's certainly not comparable to something like, Mask of Majora or,
Ocarina of Time, the Water Temple stuff.
Exactly. So look, I have no problem with admitting that it's a game that's not necessary for me, because if this is Breath of the Wild, Mark II, then I will probably end up having the same issues with it that I had with Breath of the Wild. That being said, this game will be disgustingly successful.
Oh, yeah. But
for sure.
I wonder, since Breath of the Wild was such a big hit, will it compare?
Yes. I think it'll fucking smash it even.
I think it will... I actually think not. I think it will sell.
Really?
It will probably sell better.
Should we make a little friendly wager on the side? I always love the shit. And not for anything, but so far on most of the games we've agreed on. So this is the first one where we kind of like not exactly in the same place in terms of the scoring. So just for fun, because I think that there's two factors here. First of all, this is a sequel that's been expected for a super long time, in some cases like long ago, but of course was delayed for all of the reasons that we all know so very well. That's point number one. And point number two, when Breath of the Wild came out, it was brand new on the Switch, and so as much as Nintendo, as much as they were able to do with that game, it's kind of like this whole thing of like, let's use Uncharted as an example.
Yeah.
When Uncharted comes out at the beginning of the life cycle of a PlayStation, it's good. But then when you see what Naughty Dog is able to do
At the
with
end.
that at the end, when they know the architecture really well and they can fucking move around with it, then you end up with something that's like insane. So I think the things that might have, you brought up something now saying like Breath of the Wild, puzzles weren't that fucking involving, weren't that great. So like if they fucking dial that up to 11 for this, then you've already dealt with like one of the weak points of Breath of the Wild, for example.
Yeah. But that's the thing. They need to do all that stuff that people didn't like about Breath of the Wild.
You cannot fuck with this franchise, dude. Like again, it might not be for me, but talent recognizes talent, and like, dude, you can't fuck. Like Zelda doesn't. I don't think has there ever been a shit Zelda?
No,
or not even shit Zelda. I mean like a fuck
below 90. Below 90 does not exist as far as I know.
Correct. So at the very
I'm not
least,
saying it's gonna be bad.
Yeah.
I'm just saying people might not be as impressed with this one
as they were with Breath of the Wild.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
So would you say this, and we have to use some kind of a metric, right?
Sure.
So would you say this reviews score-wise less than Breath of the Wild or more?
What did?
Because it sounds to me like you're saying less.
Yeah, most likely.
Okay, so if I look up for you now on Metacritic and I tell you the score, right? Because I'm gonna say Breath of the Wild was probably like 90 fucking. I want to say
97, 96, I think.
90 fucking 7, dog. 97. Okay, so that's insane.
That's
97
absolutely.
Average is insane. That's insane. Okay.
And my prognosis would be for Tears of the Kingdom, in that case, around 93.
Okay, but less than 97.
Yeah.
I'm saying Tears of the Kingdom fucking goes higher than 97. I'm saying on average, it scores higher than 97.
That's a bold statement.
That's
going really bold.
baby. Let's go.
Especially for someone who doesn't like the first one. Didn't click with it.
Exactly. But that should be an indication to you, right?
Yeah.
Of how much respect I have for this franchise, even though it's not something that is like necessarily my wheelhouse. So I'm saying overall it does. I'm not saying commercially better. I'm saying fucking score better. It will definitely do commercially better. More people have Switches now. More people have fucking expendable income now than they had fucking back then. That's just a fact. So this will fucking nail Breath of the Wild to a fucking cross. But I'm saying that this will actually fucking score better as well. And
interesting.
I'm putting a bottle of whiskey up.
All right.
So how it works is the fucking the whoever loses like chooses the whiskey and gives it to the winner.
All right.
And I know that you're a whiskey man, so I'll do you proud, man. I'll do you proud. With me, you could just give me some River Queen shit or something like that. Whatever, bro.
No. I gotta give you something nice.
I wouldn't. You could put drain cleaner into a bottle or a nice bottle of whiskey. I'd be like, whoa, this whiskey is interesting tasting. This is some strange whiskey. But okay, cool. So we have our scores in. Both of us agree commercial success, obviously.
Absolutely.
But you're saying that it doesn't rate quite as strong as Breath of the Wild, and I'm saying
I don't think so. Yeah. But probably Game of the Year contender. With
dude. Beyond a shadow of a doubt. Yeah,
exactly.
Like to put it to you this way, right? For Tears of the Kingdom is this year's Elden Ring.
Yep. I could agree so far. I mean, we don't know what's coming next, but I would say...
but also Elden Ring came out at the beginning of the year as well, right?
Actually, I mean...
With a year, let's go.
I mean, Elden Ring was a surprise.
No, it wasn't.
In my opinion, it was a surprise that it was so well made.
Dude, it's fucking From Software, bro. Like, you can't
but
fuck with
Demon Souls stuff said that they had their niche.
Let's this fucking thing before we continue on with it.
No. So, talking Diablo 4, my man.
I mean, this is the one for all the marbles, right? Holy shit. Okay, so let's first address the 800-pound gorilla in the room, and that is Blizzard, of course, and
Mm,
consequently Activision. I don't mean to say any of this because I'm about to get like hyper political or something like that, but the thing is that we had Immortal that came out, and Immortal was a massive disappointment for me as a lover of the franchise, and I felt like it was extremely disrespectful to the original fans, and just in general, it just seemed like a money fucking shit show. But that being said, commercially, Immortal was, I think, at one stage when I was still keeping track of it, Immortal was making them a 1.4 million US a day.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
Yeah, and that went on for like a couple of months, by the way.
Mhm.
So I don't know if it still does that kind of shit, but the point is I guess what I'm trying to make is that Immortal was, of course, was and is made for a mobile market, and it was their push into that, and it's very much pay to win, and it's very much pay to progress, and all of that stuff.
Mhm.
And so Diablo 4 is hopefully a step in the opposite direction to kind of get us back to what made this franchise great. So no cash fucking auction houses and this weird shit and buying your fucking gems and paying money to upgrade your character. None of this, drama.
Yeah.
To me, from everything that I've been able to gather about this game, and believe me when I say that this is probably one of my most anticipated games of all time, is putting it mildly. But this game is basically going from Diablo 3 back to Diablo 2. And why that is such a fundamental step is, for some people, Diablo 3 was a continuation of the franchise, but made the whole thing incredibly arcadey and made it very almost like, I don't want to use the term cartoony, but it made it less gothic than the original Diablo and Diablo 2 was. And the idea of devil spawn and gothic themes and that sort of thing is very much ingrained in the Diablo mythos, and Diablo 4 seems to kind of like take us back there. Now Blizzard, there's stories with these games, you know this as well as I do. StarCraft, Warcraft, Diablo, all of these, the stories of the lore is phenomenal, right? And already when the cinematics, some of these that we've seen, they feature some of the characters that we know very well, like Tyrael, and the lore seems to be there. And then of course the gameplay is also just seems to be like vintage old school Diablo. So I'm super excited for this. They have massive plans for it. As you know, Diablo 3 continues on to this day to have fucking seasons with stuff happening in it and everything like that. And this game will have the same. It will have a season pass. It will have a fucking cosmetic store. It will have all of that stuff. So this is as much as Immortal was a push for them into the mobile market, this is their Immortal for the platform market. Whether that means we will see predatory, shitty marketing and fucking stuff being sold, they have promised. They've literally, there's an interview where like, we promise we won't do this again. But of course they can change their minds. The point is, I'm hopeful. And I just did like a 3-minute tirade there, but I hope that shows you the passion that I have for this fucking universe and for this franchise. I just hope my passion is rewarded.
I hope so too. As we talked off camera, I'm not a huge fan of Diablo because I missed 1 and 2. And when 3 came out, everyone was like, yeah, Diablo 3 comes out. And I'm like, never heard of the game.
But so let me ask you this: did you like 3? Did you enjoy playing it?
Yeah, I did enjoy it. When I bought it, I was like, nothing special, but it's good.
Okay.
And then later, I did start getting into it again when Reaper of Souls came out. Paid a bit more attention. I did know more about Diablo in general. And it was like, yeah, it's a really great game. It's fun, addicting, and that's what I like.
Yeah.
And that's why I also hope that Blizzard / Activision does not fuck up Diablo 4 like they did with Immortal. I did
Yeah.
start Immortal and played like 1 or 2 hours before I
Okay.
ditched that.
On
Because
PC or on phone?
PC.
Okay. Okay.
Mostly because I just felt so disconnected from the game.
Okay. So in terms of like if and I know that we're talking about Diablo 4 right now, but I just want to zero in on something here. So when you were trying out Immortal, again, I guess I asked you a very similar question with one of the other games before, but like if you're saying you felt disconnected, was it just a case of like it wasn't fun for you to play, or there was no like urgency for you to play it because you didn't feel connected to like the story of the game or anything? Did it just feel to you like you were playing a fucking slot machine? Like what was it, if you could put your finger on something?
That's the thing, I can't really put my finger on it. It just didn't feel
it just didn't
engaging
grab
from the
cojones.
first from start. Like
Okay.
I think, or rather I believe that 3 did grab my attention with the first few minutes of gameplay and story.
Sure.
And I was like, I want to know more. And with Immortal, it was like, why am I here?
you
What am I
hazard a-
doing?
Could you hazard a guess, B, and tell me like how many hours do you think you played Diablo 3?
200 hours?
Okay, that's a fair amount. That's a fair amount. I personally believe like anything above 50, 60, 70 hours in any game is like should be indicative of a game that is, first of all, you know, enjoyable, obviously, but at the same time as well can handle those hours. You know what I mean? Not
Yeah.
many games can give you something back for 200 hours. You know what I mean?
True.
And so that to me, like that means that there was an investment from your side. I just like it's.
But it took time. It
Yes.
wasn't at first, but I
you
came
didn't
back.
fall in love immediately. The game had to court you a little bit before, you know, like
Yeah.
seduce you a bit. But I think, look, I think the thing about this is that back in the day, right, with Diablo 1 and Diablo 2, and this is now, you know, the games that you did not play. But the point is that when those came out, there was nothing else like it, really.
Yeah. guess.
The you had like, you could compare it to something like Ultima 7 or something like that, which kind of looked fucking similar but didn't play like it at all. Like essentially Diablo wrote the script on like the action RPG top down, you know, isometric fucking, you know, that thing. And by the time 3 came out, there were other games that were doing something similar. Then we had Titan Quest, we had like a whole bunch of other games, and you know, they were doing something similar. And of course now with 4 coming out, I mean, in a way it's literally comparing with its baby brother, which is, you know, Immortal. And of course there's other, I mean, most recently we had
Pillars?
Superfuse, for instance, you know.
Superfuse, yeah. On
Yeah.
December was also one.
Exactly. So the thing is,
then-
there's more of these now.
Path of
Right?
Exile.
Hey,
Path of Exile 2,
Correct.
which
And
will
let's-
probably be the biggest contender then.
Correct. It's fantastic that you bring that up, because let's be honest, we there's tons of these other ones. There's Grim Harvest. There's I mean, we could list these off for days.
Yeah.
Right. The point
True.
is the true comparison for in terms of like respecting your time and fucking time invested and everything like that has got to be Path of Exile. And Path of Exile 2 is something that's coming. I believe, I guess it's 2024, right? I think so.
I
haven't
hope so.
checked. Yeah.
I hope so.
Are you a Path of Exile
No.
player? Do you enjoy it?
No.
Okay.
I really want to, because
Mhm.
I like the systems they have, or what they try to give you, but I just don't really click with the game and all the mechanics.
The thing is, Path of Exile is
It's highly
in my
complicated.
opinion, is a massive. It's complicated and it's a massive time sink. There are some games in life that are simply just meant to only be played just that one game. I've made this joke in the past and said, and it's not really the case anymore, but Destiny 2 always made me feel that way, where I was like, fuck, if I'm not playing Destiny 2, I'm behind, I'm fucked, I'm losing out on time, all of that stuff. And it's the FOMO, and it's like every time you go into the game, you're like, Jesus Christ, there's like 25,000 things I have to do, all that stuff. And Path of Exile is different in a way to that, but at the same time as well, it's also like a game that has just a phenomenal amount of things in it that you can do and that you should be doing and all of that. And I feel like that's something that, like the seasonal model of Diablo does support, but in a way, like I don't know a lot about Path of Exile's lore, for instance, but I'm gonna be honest and say I don't think it's as strong as fucking Diablo's is.
No. I definitely not. I wouldn't say though. Because Diablo has already games for that, and I think even books.
Oh yeah, dude, 100%. Diablo has an entire like the Horadrim cube and the fucking this lineage of characters that the playable characters are based on, that are like basically special humans that were essentially, I forget the name now. People are gonna, I want to say Nezarim, but I could be fucking wrong. Whatever. But point is,
I don't. Something with N. Yeah, something with N.
So, yeah, something like that. But the point is that of Nephilim or something, right? But whatever.
Nephilim.
There we go. So the point is that there's this insanely fucking rich, lore behind it and everything like that. But look, I mean, I could sit and talk about this for another fucking 30 minutes. The bottom line is this, and I think the thing that we're trying to establish here is do we think these things are going to be a success? And then personally, are they important to us? On both of those counts, I want to say, I think no matter what, even if you're someone who fucking hates Blizzard right now and hates Activision, you have to make peace with the fact that Diablo 4 is probably going to be fucking massive.
Oh, absolutely. I think Diablo 4, if they keep true to their promise, it will be a freaking success. Much more like Re was.
Yeah. And then on the other hand as well, like personally for me, the full measure, is this a game that I would be interested in? Yes. Absolutely. Every aspect of Diablo to me like makes sense from a perspective of it's a game that has a grind mechanic built into it, which means that I feel reward for the amount of hours that I push into it. Secondly, it's a game that I can enjoy with friends. So while me and you are sitting and having this very conversation, we could be playing the game together, for example.
Absolutely.
It is a game that very much feels like it has this epic fucking story that you need to try and be a part of and everything like that. So it really is hitting on multiple fronts. So, and that's really all that I expect from a game, to be honest. So,
that's not like it's a few things.
No, I feel like those, no, and there are also like some hard things to do. You know what I mean? So
yeah, but I do agree with the grind, and I mean, story. Blizzard is known for its brilliant stories and brilliant cutscenes.
Yes, yeah. Holy shit! I mean, the trailers we've seen so far is fucking insane. So I mean, they should just like literally have a division that just like makes like fucking movies, bro. They would make so much bank.
That would be nice. I mean,
those movies might end up being better than Immortal. You know what I'm saying? Anything's better than Immortal. Fucking gum bottom of my shoe is better than Immortal.
Yeah, anyway. Immortal is shit, but whatever.
Okay. So I think I've said my piece on this. Your last feelings, like you having been someone that didn't have their socks necessarily blown off by Diablo 3.
Especially not at first when I did not know stuff about this.
Sure.
Now that I know more, but still kind of in my infant shoes about knowledge, I do enjoy Diablo, and occasionally I go back to Diablo 3 and play a little bit. So I definitely look forward to Diablo 4 and hope, as you do, that they keep true to their promise and deliver what the fan base wants and deserves.
Sure. No, I think that's a fantastic way to end it off.
Obviously, I also will play this game on stream. Definitely, no questions asked.
We get to try it out in the open beta later in March, eh? That's a fact. So,
open beta, okay, that sounds good.
There's a pre-release beta a week before an open beta. So the open beta is the last week in March, if I'm not mistaken.
When
if
does
you
it
open
come
up
out?
the Blizzard launcher, you can have a little.
I need to install that on my new PC first.
Yeah, you need to get on that, fam. Okay, cool. That's it.
All right.
Alrighty, and then I believe the last one we have
The
for
last
today.
one, I would agree. So yes.
Redfall. Okay, so I guess the most important question is, how do you feel about vampires, dude? Do you dig them? Do you think they're cool?
It depends how they are portrayed.
Okay.
I mean, if they are like glittery and stuff, I rather not. Although,
so do you prefer like Blade vampires?
Yeah.
Or like more like the interview with a vampire?
No, more like Blade, Underworld. That's my type of vampire.
Gotcha. Okay, so obviously, for anybody that's not familiar with Redfall, because it is kind of like a brand new franchise, and it was surprising to me about how many of the games that we looked at today were essentially either sequels, remakes, or basically continuations of an ongoing story. The only really one that wasn't was Wulong, right? The rest of them were all So Redfall is something brand new. It's Arcane Studios. Arcane Studios is famously known for making Arx Fatalis, and then moving on to things like the Dishonored series and Prey, and then the god awful fucking disgusting Deathloop, and then now we have this. This is essentially a 4-player squad-based shooter, third-person shooter, where you deal with this town called Redfall that has got like a massively fucked up vampire infestation, and so you have objectives and things that you have to do. Now,
you said third person. It's a first person.
Did I say? Oh yeah, sorry. That was a mispronunciation from my side. First person shooter. Absolutely right. Yeah. Thanks for that correction. So yeah. So the thing is, first and foremost, basically just listening to myself say everything that I said right now. I hate, and I'm gonna be very fucking honest now. I hate that this 4-player or 3-player squad-based shitty fucking shooter thing is so popular right now, where if you don't have real buddies, then it's replaced by a fucking AI that doesn't know what it's supposed to be doing. And it's like this, the one guy has the spear gun, and without the guy with the spear gun, you can't I'm paraphrasing now, but you can't kill a zombie, and the other guy's got the fucking rope that you need to swing across. You see what I mean? So each body brings something to the team, and playing this game basically with randoms sucks ass, and playing it with AI sucks ass. So unless you have 3 other buddies who are willing to put in the time, you're like, I'm never going to see the sexiness that this game is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's my first concern, I guess. What are your feelings? Like, I mean, like, do you like it? Do you like what you've seen so far?
I'm not impressed. Absolutely not.
Okay.
It does look interesting. It does look interesting. It could be something that I might enjoy. I do get some Fortnite Save the World vibe, actually.
Okay.
I don't know why, I just get the vibes of it.
Sure. No, I feel you. The animation and stuff like that has got like a certain style to it, right?
Yeah. I did like what Save the World was meant to be.
Sure.
Not what it was. I think you know too what it was. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. But anyways, it could be, but I don't think it will. And unless like you Full Measure will go like, I was so wrong about this game, I probably won't get it. At least I won't buy it, let's say it like that.
Well, I mean, but that's dude, I mean, that's a massive compliment, and I appreciate you saying that. I really do. It's just the thing is, without getting too technical or anything like that as to why I say this, but like Arcane Studios, the reason why I enjoyed those games, right, is because that I believe that Arcane are very good at crafting a very specific world and a very specific story within that world, and then have you partake in that as a protagonist. Now,
Yes.
that is not what this game is. Yeah, it's a specific world, and yeah, it's vampire shit and everything like that. But when it comes to games like this, that it's like a team of 3 or a team of 4, and each guy's supposed to be doing something, and each character has a different personality and anything like that. The point is that in games like that, 9 out of 10 times, the expectation is that the fucking player makes the story. So your experience in Redfall, for instance, would be different to mine. And the next person's would be different to ours. And that's because, you know, you decided to use the shotgun, and your buddy had a machine gun, and this dude had a fucking stake launcher, and you just went in guns a-blazing. And then me and my crew went in like all stealth, and then the next guys just blew the fucking place up. Whatever. The example that I'm trying to make is that the emerging gameplay, right, actually tells the story. And I feel like Arcane, that's not their forte. So if you look at like their strongest entries, Dishonored 2.
Yeah, but those are all immersive sims.
Yes, that's my point. That's my point. So the thing is, I'm not trying to say that they can't pull this off, but this is such a drastic departure from what they're known for and what they're good at.
I agree. Yes, but to me, what you just described before, that okay, it's not necessarily immersive, an immersive sim, but in the other games like Dishonored, yeah, you have your base story that you follow, but the way you go about
it could be different,
is
right? You
different.
Go stealth, you
Exactly.
go
I mean, that's
ball.
pretty much what you just said. Like
100%. 100%. No, 100%. But with one big difference.
It's completely
right?
different.
Yeah.
Still.
The main difference here is the next thing, and the best example I can use for this is, you know, a game called Ghost Recon Wildlands, right?
Yeah, I played like 1 hour
You know
before
what?
before I ditched that.
So Wildlands is a massive open world third person or first person shooter where you can attempt things solo with AI companions,
Yes.
or you can have a team of 4 and you could do these objectives together. And some of the gameplay in this game is so fucking phenomenal, where you can have 2 guys up on a mountain, 1 guy a spotter, 1 guy a sniper, and you can have 2 guys down in the field infiltrating a base, and with these other 2 guys as Overwatch. And it's like this, you know, they're doing bomb drones, and guys are like putting cameras down, and it's this whole like it's like you're making like a 1.5 hour action movie, right?
Yeah.
But then in reality, when you fucking queue up with 3 randoms, all 3 guys just run in with MP5s and spray and pray and fuck the whole place up.
Yeah.
So there's no emergent gameplay, there's no stealth, there's nothing. That is my point. The reason why Dishonored 1, Dishonored 2, Prey, and all of those work, because you have, exactly like you said, you have multiple different solutions to the problem, is that they only have to contend with you as one player, and the game can tailor itself around the responses that it can get from you as one player, and therefore you still have a curated experience meant to be a certain way. So as much as you have free will and all of that stuff, in a way there are just some parts where you are operating within a constrained sandbox and the net result is a certain way. The thing with games like this is that while the game gives you, like, it can give you all these skills and everything to use, everything, that doesn't stop it from you trying to play like the, you know, like with this emergent gameplay kind of style, and 3 people with shotguns just running around, jumping on each other and shooting. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now I get your point, actually.
Yeah. And that to me is like I just feel like I'm gonna end up, it's entirely possible that I'll end up loving this game, but I'll hate the fact that I have AI fucking companions or other human beings that I have to love it with. You see what I mean?
I'm pretty sure you get a full squad together with your community.
No, sure.
But
No,
and I also think that this game will probably come to Game Pass. Most likely.
I think you're right.
Since it's Bethesda and they did collab now, so
Yeah.
I will definitely try it if it's on Game Pass, and we'll see. But yeah, as I said, I most likely won't put money in there.
Success. Let's talk success. So again, we've unfortunately leveraged that criticism at a bunch of games today. So obviously not Game of the Year, right? But
not even close.
Yeah, but do you feel that this is a game that ends up being like super successful?
No.
Or something that people try out for a while and much like Deathloop or whatever, it fades into obscurity like a couple of weeks in or something like that.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I don't really get the hype that you mentioned from other people's. I did not know that this game was getting hype. Just because you said it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hype's also a funny word, though, right? Like.
Yeah, I guess.
We just one game before this, right? We were talking about Diablo, right? And that has a far, different word of mouth and expectation and everything like that. I think that these kinds of games, if you look at like fucking Borderlands and stuff like that, which to me this seems like fucking Borderlands with vampires. I'm just saying. But this feels like a Gearbox game. But like the thing is, these games are popular for the console brethren in a way, because there's a thing about looking at this going like, fuck man, I'd love to just sit on a fucking couch with a controller in my hand and just fuck around and drink some beer and do this shit, right? And I get that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't. I think the thing about Redfall is that the people that are excited for it are excited for it due to the fact that it's coming from a pedigree studio. But in terms of like the actual gameplay of it and everything like that, I have to agree with you. Like, what exactly makes this so special compared to anything else? Nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a run-of-the-mill kind of shooter for. Yeah, I don't want to say kids, because I just don't like.
No, but I get what you mean when you say kids. I know you don't mean kids, but
yeah,
it's maybe
like
casuals.
The Fortnite guys.
Casuals.
Or not like that. You also don't like casuals anymore. Or at least they weren't at the start. Let's call it like.
So okay, but then if you're saying Fortnite, you mean kids. If you're saying Fortnite,
mostly, rather, let's say the very young folks.
Teenagers.
the very young folks. I mean, I'm also in my 30s already, so I'm kind of feeling old at some point.
No, sure. No, I just it's also like, it seems like I have like a lot of hate in my heart for the game or anything like that. And that's definitely not the case at all. I just like I don't have what I do have a hate for is a fucking mediocre game. Like I don't feel like that. I don't feel like a mediocre game. And there's just nothing like blowing my fucking hair back right now with this. Yeah. But okay, cool. Again, it seems like we're kind of like on the same page. So yeah.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I don't think it will be commercially successful, nor will it be reviewed. The score technically be very successful, if it even would be successful.
Sure.
I mean, like, if we want to go score wise, I would probably say around 65 to 75.
Really?
Probably.
That low?
I guess.
In today's world, like a 65 is
I know,
like,
I know.
Shit. You know what I mean? It's weird. I don't agree with it. I still think 65 is above 50, right? But the point is like 65 these days is like a fucking gunshot to the head, dude. It's like crazy. Like
I don't know. I just feel
I was gonna again say this is gonna be like an 80. Everything is 80 these days, bro.
I get what you're going at, but I don't know. I mean, as you say, you feel like it's too less, maybe. I mean, but then again, that's what we kind of do. It's not like we're predicting.
No,
Or
no, no.
like
But I mean, you
what
could
we
very well
will
end up being right.
feel what it could be. I mean,
Yeah,
it also
that's
could be
true.
like a fucking hype game.
My God.
It could
I
be.
mean, I'm gonna just say this, dude, straight up.
Don't say
if-
anything you don't want to do, actually.
No, I don't give a fuck, dude. Like, if this gets like Game of the Year treatment, or like it's like a fucking 90s average or some shit like that, dude, I will fucking drink a beer out of a fucking boot on camera. You have it.
All right.
And I know my boots are gonna stay dry. That's all I'm saying. Like, so yeah.
Yeah, most likely.
Okay. But that's it.
And that's a wrap up on our predictions for these upcoming games. We hope you've enjoyed our insights and are just as excited as we are for the release of these titles. But I say it again, we want to hear from you guys. What are your predictions for these games? Are you excited about a particular title we discussed? Do you think we missed something important? Let us know in the comments below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channels, and if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your fellow gaming enthusiasts. Thanks for watching, have a good one, and take it easy.